Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Max and Trev with BuzzTox here with our reaction for Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 6. This episode's titled Beyond the Wall. How's it going, Trev?
Very good. It was Beyond the Wall.
It was. What did you think of this episode?
Thought it was great. Really great. For what I was expecting it to be. I have a few gripes, but on a whole, they pulled me in. I'm down with their narrative now.
I can't help feel shitty after watching this episode.
Why?
Like, I realized the spectacle was good, but I just, no matter how much I try and lie to myself and tell myself it was good, I can't like it. I just can't bring myself to like it. I just don't like what it was. I think there were a lot of plot holes in it. I think it was just poorly written, and it made no sense in a lot of cases. And I just thought it was a big mess in a lot of situations. So, I try to like it, but I feel like I'm leaving it feeling kind of shitty, and I'm scared for what's going to happen moving forward.
I think everyone's expectations were super high because just historically we've always had a big second last episode, and it seemed even we were sort of evangelizing how big this episode was going to be, and it wasn't as big of an episode.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was just a plot episode. Yeah, some big things happened in it, but it wasn't like a dedicated to one group, or it wasn't a big huge battle scene. It wasn't this decisive thing that happened. It was just what happened, right?
I just think it goes. The episode seemed like that because they had to structure it like that to feed the narrative of capturing a wight. Like, this whole capturing the wight thing affected this episode so much to the point where it went against all of the previous rules that they set up. Like, a lot of stuff pissed me off in this episode, and suspension of disbelief is a really careful thing. Up until this point, I've been able to suspend my disbelief and believe it and really appreciate the show. But this episode destroyed my suspension of disbelief to the point where I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Over the wall, the way they dealt with the White Walkers, I thought was stupid. I feel like every single scene we've seen with the White Walkers, they're traveling south, they're in a pack, they're never separate. And then, just for the sake of plot, I feel like why the hell was that one White Walker with a group of 10 whites? Why was he alone?
Well, no, it seems like they spread out. Think of the one that passed by Sam. You didn't see the Night's King there. They do almost like they spread out. They don't. There is what seems like to me is a group of the four that are always together, but there's I don't know what you would call them, lieutenants or captains of their own platoon, and we saw that, and it kind of dealt with that if you think about it, because they killed the one and his dudes dropped, but there was another white there from another White Walker.
Yeah, I just think it was handled so I'm so angry just looking back at it, because if you look at last season when Bran was attacked by the White Walkers and the Whites, if you look at Hardhome when they were attacked, it's a massacre. They don't stop. They don't just walk around. They go full tilt. And I feel like they nerfed them for the sake of trying to pull together this bullshit story that they started last episode. Certain things piss me off. The whole water thing, it seemed like to me with D&D, the producers of the show were oh, in Hardhome we proved that they can't walk across water, so we'll integrate that and we'll have the ice break. We live in Canada. There's no way, if you're that far north, the ice would come close to melting or breaking under that kind of pressure. It broke when only 10 people stepped on it. And then they waited for it to refreeze, and it was frozen enough in that day that it wasn't before that. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. Ugh. And then they just, they refused to go into that little puddle that was in front of them. But during the fight scene after, they're clambering over each other, falling into the water and climbing out of the water. To me, it just didn't make any sense, and it didn't add up.
Yeah.
You get what I mean, or did you feel that at all? Because they literally during the fight scene, they were falling in the water, climbing out of the water, grabbing people, trying to drag Tourmond under the water. Jon was dragged underwater, but they refused to step over literally this 2-foot hole in the ice, and the ice shouldn't have even broken in the first place, and that was awful because it just ruined the action. You had something so good going here, and then we follow our characters standing on a rock. And then the Hound thinks it's fun to throw a rock at a couple of them, and then they find out that the ice is frozen from the rock flying across the pond, which for some reason is more frozen than it was 2 days ago makes absolutely no sense to me. So like I really wanted to enjoy it, but like as much as I try and lie to myself to like it, I just can't. Like I just don't like the way they handled it. And I feel like they could have done so many more reveals and they played it so straight. And Benjen, like what? Like he just came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? No. And the White Walkers, I think he came out of nowhere, and you think Jon's safe, and you see the Whites walking away from the scene. And then Benjen swoops in and saves Jon. The Whites start to turn around because they realize Jon is there. Well, why are they leaving? Because they return to resurrect a dragon.
Yeah.
So there's little things that I'm like, why? Like, how does that make any sense? Why would you leave to come back to resurrect the dragon? Like, the Whites shouldn't have left that point. They left because of plot. Well, they needed them to leave. So I thought it was so dumb.
Here's the thing. So everything that I think you're complaining about could be explained if they had more time. I think the Whites left because they didn't have those big-ass chains with them. So they had to go somewhere to get chains. But that's like, they're not going to waste time explaining that they had to leave to get chains.
But then where would they even get the chains? Like, it's just so... it's really frustrating.
Because how else would they pull a dragon out of the water like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like every opportunity they had, they fell short to making it even more badass. Like, he threw a javelin and killed the dragon. Like, I feel like there was a better way to do that. And I don't even think, it wasn't even Viserion. In the leaks, everyone thought that Viserion would be the one that would die, and I think everyone still believes it, but it's clearly Rhaegal. He has green eyes, and he's a green dragon, and there goes Jon's father's dragon. So
you noticed that, but it's like, I wonder if maybe they goofed up, because you said that even the script was saying, right?
The leaks said that it was Viserion, but if they fucked up, that's ridiculous, because every single dragon has the color of their skin. Drogon has red eyes, Viserion has gold eyes, and Rhaegal has green eyes, and it was clear as day that the dragon that died had green eyes. So I'd be really mad if they try to play it off that Viserion died, because it clearly looked like Rhaegal was the one that died.
Yeah. To me, I don't even think that matters that big of a deal, but maybe to the book guys it matters, but they're secondary dragons no matter what way you look at it.
I don't know, like there's like the action scene was cool, but like where was Bran? Why wasn't Bran in this episode at all? Why are we focusing in on the Arya and Sansa drama, which I thought was pointless and it didn't make any sense to me either. Like, why wasn't he north of the wall working into a crow helping them out? Why did Gendry have to run? We had to see him run to return a raven, which is the stupidest thing ever. Give Bran that role. He's watching them. Have him fly back as a crow. Have him warg into one of Daenerys' dragons and make her fly. The whole Gendry Raven thing is one of the stupidest things ever.
Yeah, that is where we get to my gripe. It's like, they have Bran, who has, like, instant messaging around this world, and they didn't use him for this.
We should have been, oh my god.
The one thing they could have used is Bran in this episode.
During the intensity, we should have been seeing Bran in the Weirwood Tree figuring out what to do, how to protect them. We should have seen him messing with the Night King. And to me, it was just a mess. Like, even in the fighting, like, when Daenerys arrives and burns everybody, a lot of whites are just standing around watching, and a select few are attacking Jon. And it's like, sure, you could do that if you're trying to push a certain theory, but they literally were doing that for the sake of the plot that they were trying to push. Like, the whites that we've seen are just come in hordes and they don't stop, but these ones were controlled, and it just made absolutely no sense to me. They could have used Bran, and I feel like they literally could have fixed some of a lot of these issues really easily, but they didn't. And like, the ice to me was ridiculous. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, does that make sense to you? The ice to me made no sense to me.
Yeah, because okay, this is what I said. Like, it would take a lot to explain everything that happened in this episode, and they just didn't have time to. So water is obviously, like, it's just a waste to try and put these things across water. They can't swim. Those ones that were flipping around, just barely hanging on, were trying to grab Tormund. Whether or not they were trying to pull him down, they just grabbed them and stopped swimming so they would sink, right? So what it is they follow orders directly from their source, but they also have a baseline of instincts, is what it seems like to me. If they come to water's edge, they stop. because they know if they go into water, they're done for. And whoever the host White Walker is controlling them would want them to stop as well. And
Yeah,
that's what happened. So they
man.
started smashing the ice when hundreds of them started walking on it. So they went around it. Now the ice thing, I don't know what the geography of the north is. You would think it's just like the Arctic, but it could be something like Iceland, where they film it. And in Iceland, there's seismic activity, and there's like geothermal energy. So lakes could potentially be hot, like boiling, and also sometimes stop being boiling and freeze over. So there is an out there, but that's what I mean. Like, it's so complicated to explain, and they might not even care about that stuff. It's just like, no,
I think you're stretching it to like really help the show out.
Yeah, but like, what would be a better scenario though? What would be a better scenario for the guys being held up?
Well, it's just like they're like, we need a way to make them stay stranded so Daenerys can come. And it's like, literally the ice started cracking when 10 guys were on it. Like, and we, like, think about a winter in Canada. Like, you can't break through ice on a cold winter. Imagine up there, like, you're north. It's always winter there. And it cracks just like that. And then it freezes even colder than it was 2 days ago or a day ago. Like, to me, that made it makes no sense. And I think it was just a cheap way to make them, to stall them. And we've seen them crawl over, like, crawl in the water and crawl out, and like, it literally was like a 2-foot gap. Like, I just thought it was ridiculous. Like, what would stop them from crawling over each other to get to them? I thought it was crazy. Like,
I just think the loss would be too great.
The way I would fix it is, like, maybe we could try and, like, we know Jon's important. I don't know what story they're trying to tell here, but, like, I would love if the Night King would try and really want Jon, want him for a particular reason, and he can't send his men in because he doesn't want to kill him, so he sends in strategic strikes or something like that, and Bran would get to Daenerys before Gendry has to run a marathon back to Eastwatch. Like, to me, it's like, it was a cheap thing, and like, I feel like the action sputtered because of it, because we get small bits of action, and then we get them sitting on a rock, and then we get a bit more action, and then we get an easy, like, you know, the breaks. To me, like, Battle of the Bastards was unbelievable because it focused on two stories. You got Daenerys conquering Meereen, and you got Jon and Sansa fighting the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's clear that Jon defeated Ramsay Bolton, and he now claims Battle of the Bastards. This episode to me was like, it was all over the place. It had no cohesive story like Battle of the Bastards. It was just, I don't know. I thought it was just streamlined together. And then Winterfell, like, I think you felt more positive. How'd you feel about Winterfell?
Yeah, like, I think we have differing opinions on this too when we were talking right after we watched it. It's just like, to me, it seemed like, obviously, Arya's pissed at what she found, and she was sort of flapping her wings, saying, like, I'm not a little girl anymore, and what you're doing is shitty, to the point where, like, you said you had it bad, I had it bad as well, and I'm capable of a lot more than what you think I'm capable of, so don't fuck this up.
I just think some scenes were really out of place. Like, I was fine with, like, I like the scene with Arya talking to Sansa about Ned Stark and how he watched Arya shoot arrows and how the rules were wrong and not Arya for shooting the arrows. But, like, she got really angry over this letter, which I think they explained well in that scene. But after that, when she sees Arya's faces and she goes, like, all, like, she went way too over to the top, to the point where I didn't even understand how, like, it didn't make any sense to me why she was being so intense, what she was trying to get out of it. I thought it was kind of ridiculous.
No, I just thought, like I said, I think she's trying to like flex her muscles and say, like, I'm not like your little sister. You can't just fuck around with me. You can't just say what you think I'm supposed to understand, and I'm supposed to understand it like I'm your little sister. Like, I'm a full-blown adult now with some serious things that's happened to me. I know what's going on here.
It just kind of blew my mind because like they just got back together. They were doing well, and then one stupid letter from like 5 years ago changed everything. So and to like a really serious point. So I don't know. Like it seems like they were setting it up so crazy to the point where I can't even believe that they'd get back together to defeat Littlefinger or to move on from this. It was really crazy, and the scene to me was so out of place too. Like we're spending so much time north of the Wall, and then all of a sudden we're back at Winterfell and seeing Arya freak out on Sansa. I just felt like there was no construct with this episode. Like it was all over the place. So I was really like, fuck, man. I was frustrated. I'm frustrated with this episode.
I can't believe you're hating on the bear scene. That was amazing.
The bear scene was cool, but like for me, I'm just looking at it from a writing perspective, and like I feel like every single scene should have enhanced the White Walkers, and I feel like it just took away. Like, why introduce the polar bear in that one scene? Like, I just thought the polar bear would naturally be with the group of whites. Like, why is it alone? I feel like they just did that to push the plot. Like, I don't know. It's really frustrating. And the whites, I feel like they treated them so different than last time. And like the only true reveal that we got is if you kill a white, or you kill a White Walker, then the ones that are following them also die, which we've been talking about for a while with the Night King.
Yeah.
And they revealed that, which was cool, but like I was looking for another significant reveal, like looking into Jon, looking into him as a Targaryen, because watch, they're gonna tell us now he's a Targaryen, like they hinted at it last episode, and I feel like they're just gonna tell us now, where they could have shown us in a really cool action sequence why he is Targaryen in this scene, and I feel like they blew it, and they played it so straight down the middle, and yeah, like this stupid mission literally was just so they could resurrect a white dragon. And it was Rhaegal, I think, which was an even more important dragon, which kind of blows my mind. So, I have no idea.
Well, it seems that we're getting served like a whole new concept, because we thought we had it figured out pretty good on a lot of things, but now it's like, as it stands, it doesn't seem like the Night King thinks Jon's anything special at all.
Yeah.
Like there's no narrative there anymore. It's that ominous look down on him at Hardhome when he defeated it was nothing, and even the look of him at the shores of Hardhome don't really mean anything now as well.
Yeah.
Because he would have made damn sure he was dead if that was the case. He wouldn't just let him fall in the water. So I don't know. Like that's what's upsetting, because they're like, well, fuck, there's nothing there, and also like, the Night's King isn't looking for anything that we've seen now. These guys came up, and it was they're just taking it as an ambush, and they just wanted to kill them all.
Yeah, I just
like now his motives seem even more cloudy.
Yeah, it's like I feel like they're just gonna make him a weapon. Like I feel like I'm trying to disassociate what I predicted would happen. Like I wanted some really cool reveals to happen here. We got literally no awesome reveals. But like just looking at the episode as a whole and how it was handled, I think it was poor. Like the ice melting to me was ridiculous, and I don't know. I feel like it could have been handled way better. And just characters again, there's some things where I kind of I was like, what the hell? Like, and this is my last thing I'm gonna say about the episode is that I'm actually like I enjoyed it when I watched it, but now I'm pissed again. Like and I hate it. I hate being angry at Game of Thrones, but it's like. First is Mance Rayder. Tourmond says that Mance was a proud man, that he didn't bend the knee. That goes against Mance as a character. He said, fuck pride. That was the whole basis of his character, and Tourmond threw that out the window. Tyrion said that when they go into the dragon pit, Cersei will try and spin a trap. They won't spin a trap, but we'll make sure if you die, we're going to burn King's Landing to the ground. I thought Tyrion was trying to prevent that for the whole season. And at the end of this whole shit, Jon says he's going to bend the knee. Yeah. Like, why? Like, this whole season you've been saying you're not going to bend the knee. I just thought it was so out of place and so stupid, and all these characters are going in directions to save the plot rather than sticking to their own guns. Like Jon's only reason to bend the knee is like, wow, you came to our aid. Awesome.
Well, she saved his life in a sense.
But she already said, she's like, I will fight with you. I will fight the Night King because I lost my child. and he's like, okay, I'm gonna bend the knee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just, I thought it annoyed me. And Tyrion saying he'd burn King's Landing to the ground, I just thought it was so against their characters, and it just, it really pissed me off.
Well, it just seems like Jon never wanted what he had, and she proved herself as like an actual good person for what she did. Like, she technically saved his life, even though it was kind of like, there's a technicality there, but she saved everyone else's life and completed the mission, right? And she left Jon for dead in a sense, but she thought he was dead, but at the same time, because of what she did, saved his life.
But then it's like, oh, he's not dead. He'll fall in the water. He'll climb out of the water, and then here comes fucking Benjen. It's just, it's like, of course. I don't know.
Like, that's my gripe. It goes back to my gripe. Is like, Bran could have been used in this to communicate with Benjen, and that's what I think is happening. But they didn't show it. Like, how else would Benjen know to go there? It has to be Bran telling them.
To me, it was supposed to be emotional, but they ruined it. Like, Jon must stay behind to make the audience feel like he's gonna die again, and then just have Benjen swoop in because we know he's north of the wall. Like, he just came in, hit a couple of the wights, threw Jon on his horse, so we get a slow-mo montage of him getting overrun by wights. Like, it had no impact. Like, he should have been with them the whole way. Or it should have been Bran that saved him. Or Jon should have rode the dragon for the first time. Like, I feel like they literally, for the last 2 episodes, they've went with the worst possibility. I'm getting very annoyed. And I'm actually getting really nervous because I love this show and I don't like the way it's going.
As we were sitting here, I just figured out a totally better plot.
I know. I know.
You get me angry when you get angry at these episodes. But
because it's true. Like, honestly, Trev, we could write something better in 20 minutes.
Listen to this. Listen to this plot. In the 20 minutes we've been recording this. Thoros, while still alive, magically puts a ring of fire around them. And it burns until he dies. Because that's exactly what happened anyways. Right? And they couldn't cross it because it's magical fire.
Yeah.
That can't be put out by the fucking Night's King. And then he would have died. It would have been more dramatic than how he died. Like,
we'd see him, like, kind of limping and putting the fire down with his sword, and then, like, fuck.
Yeah, and then he dies, and then it's like he could have had the same moment, like, fuck, right? He looks across, and they all start charging, and then, boom, Daenerys shows up with a dragon for some air support mission, some airstrike.
It's so annoying. Bran could have warned Daenerys. Bran could have been the reason for their mission beyond the wall instead of Tyrion's stupid idea that went against everything he's been saying before. So annoying. Like, honestly, like, I'm considering doing videos of rewriting this season and making it actually good. Because, like,
you're gonna do some fanfic?
I just don't know what they're thinking. Like, the ice melts, really? Like, they could have done anything. Anything.
It could be a river. I was just thinking that, too. Flowing water doesn't freeze, no matter how cold.
Yeah, like,
usually.
Honestly, it could have literally been anything. Like, Bran should have been in the Night King's head. Like, that's what I would buy more. Like, the Horde. Like, instead of having the Horde just stop for the water, have the Horde running in, and Bran sees that his brother is getting overrun by wights, and have him finally get to the next level of his power, channel the Weirwood, and get into the Night King's head and try and throw him off.
Yeah, stopped the Horde in the circle.
And the Night King is mentally fighting Bran, and we see Bran fighting on the Weirwood while they're trying to hold off the wights, and because of that, he ends up stalling the wights.
Or
something like that.
Throwing Patronuses down.
Like, fuck, man. Like, they could have done it better. I'm annoyed. I'm really pissed off. I watched it and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. But now thinking about it, it's just, what are they doing? What are they doing? I'm so annoyed. And I don't know how George R. R. Martin thinks of this, because, like, this is just so out of line. Like, I don't even understand what the producers are doing. Like, they could have went any other direction.
We'll see you on the next one. Like, maybe there's a lot of things that do get resolved, or maybe there's a lot of backfill that they can explain in the last episode.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. Do we know anything about this last episode? There were so many leaks and all these things. So, is there a big episode coming, or is it the usual sort of?
It's honestly nothing significant, and it's like, Yeah, when these leaks came out, it was a big disappointment, and I thought that they were so dumb that I said it couldn't possibly be true, and I've been proven wrong at every single turn, and they've been confirmed right.
Yeah.
Every single time, and I thought that they'd have a clever way to explain it, but they really don't, and they're changing character values and motives, and I just think it's ridiculous.
Theory about the bear. Do you think the Night's King converts like animals, not to be a part of his army, but just to be living on?
I don't know.
And that's maybe why it was by itself.
It's just a shot at the dark. Like, I have no idea. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I really have to say about this episode. Just overall, it sucked. Like, the action was good, but yeah, you got like, fuck, I'm pissed. Do you have anything else to say?
I just like, it is a shame. I wouldn't go so far to say that it sucked, but my expectations were a lot higher, and maybe that's why I'm a little bit sour on it.
It's just, yeah.
And like, will you ever remember the name of this episode? Like a Hard Home, or like a
it was so unrememberable. It's literally
or the Battle of the Wall.
Yeah, dude, it's my least favorite action-packed episode out of everything. Every episode 9 beats it in my point of view.
Oh yeah, by far.
Every like Hard Home beats it. Everything centered around a big reveal beats it. Like, this episode to me was like, and it was a mess. Like, every episode 9 has a structure. Season 5 focused in on Daenerys in the Dragon Pit. Episode 8 of Season 5 focused north of the Wall. Battle of the Bastards. Episode 9 of Season 6 focused on the fight of winning Winterfell back. This thing was like Winterfell was thrown in there, and it didn't fit. Like, Winterfell didn't fit in there at all, but they were trying to push the agenda for the next episode, and I don't even like the way they did it. And the north of the Wall, like, the action we got was split up by a wait for a couple days because the ice has melted a couple of feet. Like, come on. I just thought it was stupid. Oh, okay. I'm gonna end it there. That's my reaction for the episode.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Until next time. See you later, everybody.
See ya.